I don't really know what to say about this. Um, my family has been very fortunate to not suffer financially during the outbreak. My job as a zookeeper means that my work doesn't really go away when the public goes away or the crowds go away. Um, at my zoo, in my position, I am pretty much always needed. There's not really a ability to use my position less. So very fortunate that we haven't had any loss of funds or any trouble paying our bills or anything like that. And I know a lot of other people have been less fortunate than that, including some people I know. I haven't known anyone that's been directly fired. Well, I not everyone at our zoo continued to work in their jobs. The zookeepers um, had to stay and do their jobs, but um, obviously a lot of guest service staff I haven't seen in months, and I imagine they either found a new place of business or what. I don't know what the part-time workers did. I knew when we closed it would be bad for them, or at least that job would be gone. But personally, I've known a few people outside of the zoo that have been furloughed for a few weeks. So I think they both had to take a week off every month for about 3 months. So not an insignificant amount of money. But yeah, we've been fairly fortunate. Um, we've had to make a lot of changes at work, and that's been very weird. And I guess I can talk about that. I don't remember when we closed. It's been so long. I'm filming this June 8th. I can't remember when we closed, but I feel like it's been at least 2 months. Maybe it was even March. I feel like it was March. I feel like we closed when the schools in our state were ordered closed by our governor. So we figured that if the kids were out and families needed something to do, they would probably come to our zoo. So we closed pretty much as soon as that happened. I know we were a little ahead of the curve when it came to zoos, at least the ones that I knew in some of our surrounding states. I don't know if there was extra financial incentives. I don't know if it was because the virus hadn't gotten to those states yet, but my city was a little bit isolated from the spread, either because people weren't being tested or because of its kind of weird little geological or geographical isolation. But a different city in our state got hit hard, so we definitely reacted um, to the city that got hit hard and not necessarily our local conditions. But we closed. It wasn't that long before a lot of other zoos, I would say pretty much all of the zoos closed, and that was it. We were closed for months. We took a lot of precautions at first. Um, we actually thought that we would be able to donate some personal protective equipment like face masks and gloves because there's such a shortage in various hospitals and other healthcare facilities. But that changed at a certain point when it was discovered in New York that tigers could get the virus from most likely their asymptomatic human keepers. So that changed things a lot in my line of work, probably at a lot of zoos and other animal care facilities. So we had to take precautions specifically around carnivores like lions, tigers, and jaguars, and I even think some otters and other weasel like mustelid animals. We don't have that many at our zoo, but it sounded like that was something that other zoos had to take precautions with. Eventually, we had to take more precautions with primates, even though we typically take a lot of PPE precautions with them anyway. My zoo is fairly small, so they were worried that if one of us got it, a lot of the zookeepers would get it, and we would be pretty screwed. There's only 18 zookeepers in my zoo, so they split us into three groups of which we would not really interact with. So it used to be we had one break room and one place we would sign in and one set of computers and all that. And it wasn't really anything too strange, but they split us into three groups of various expertise. So, and usually they kind of have some splits like that where you're more likely to work in an area of your expertise. So, for example, I work with a lot of rainforest animals, so birds and fish and reptiles and amphibians and like porcupines and kind of a variety of stuff like that. But I do have some aquatic and herpetology stuff. So I would usually cover an area that has similar animals. In in this case, they've split us so that we are almost always and very rarely out of this pod of groups. We can only really back up or fill in for this one pod. So basically, we had people in one building doing this stuff there, people in another building doing that stuff there, people in a different area, basically staying in their own pods in order to make sure that if like one person got it, that the risk of it spreading to everyone else would be mitigated. If one of us got it, we were probably pretty screwed anyway because we would still have like maybe a third of the zoo kind of have to be quarantined or treated or whatever. But that hasn't happened yet. So we haven't seen a lot of certain coworkers in like months. It's been pretty isolating and kind of strange in a lot of ways. You just hear them on the radio. It's like I don't know, like illusions or something or ghosts. You know they're there, but you haven't seen them and you haven't heard from them. You haven't talked with them really in like an entire season's worth of time. It's been kind of odd for me personally too because we've been without a car for several months. Um, we needed to repair it, so we haven't really been able to go out and do anything either. So it's been fairly isolating. Not that you'd really want to go out in the height of all this mess a couple months back, but it's been strange. When I have gone to the store, it was weird to see like when did go to the grocery store when the car was still working. It was weird to see like the escalation of how serious people were taking it. Like first you'd go to the store and there'd be like nobody in masks, and then you'd see the people working there have masks, and then the little shielding come up, and the initial rush for supplies and food was very strange to see in our age. I remember when it was coming. I didn't spend more on food that week, but I did focus on focus more on some food that I knew would last a while and would keep and that were still important parts of our diet. So I made sure to get our normal assortment of canned beans and make sure we had a supply of that because part of my family is vegetarian, so we eat a lot of beans. I made sure we had pasta because we eat a lot of pasta, and that kind of forms a decent backbone of our diet. And I was very shocked to go to the store the next day and just see empty shelves, just completely gone. No canned food, no pasta, no bread, no yogurt, even though that doesn't seem like something that would keep for a long time. No toilet paper. Target, especially, was just like completely barren of toilet paper. We were lucky at some point to walk into an Aldi and realize that they had some, and I was like, oh fuck, okay, I should probably get this Aldi toilet paper. Um, and eventually the food came back, but it was definitely strange at first to be like something we take for granted food wise is just not there. It's just not available. It's just gone. Like we are so used to being able to have everything at all times that once it's not there, it's very disturbing. So, you see the de-escalation. I went to the grocery store today to pick up some stuff, and some of the measures that store took to keep people safe are starting to go. And a lot of the people that were taking it seriously and trying to stop the spread are now not. You know, I could see like the rise and the fall of the masks. You see people start to wear them and them to be ubiquitous, and now for it just to be something that the employees are forced into, and people that are at the store just kind of not, even though the mask is for the other people, not for them. I feel bad for the people that work and have to wear the masks and protect their protect their customer base, and for that customer base to just throw it back in their face and not really bother to wear the mask and help keep those employees safe. Like I think that's incredibly disrespectful and just kind of rude and selfish and even something that looks down upon the employees. Like I have to wear it in my workplace too, for that matter. Like we don't we're not like hanging out in the same room. We when we're eating together, we actually have to be far enough away. When we're around each other, we're still wearing the mask because it's impossible for me to do my job without walking past other keepers in the hallway or working with them to do the Jaguar routine because of all the multiple locks that we use. And so we have the masks at our work, and we're sweating our asses off in in the Jaguar yard or Tiger yard or whatever to make sure that we don't accidentally get the Jaguar or the virus. And so I do the same at other people's places at work. I wear the mask, but you can't force people to do something even if it's a good idea. Um, Overall, it just feels like we missed a season of time, like 3 months, just come and gone, full of isolation and danger, and obviously, over 100,000 people in this country dying at this point in time, and um, plenty of racism to go with it towards East Asian people in the United States. One of my close friends is of Korean ancestry, and I asked him, like, have you had any weirdness happen? And thankfully he had not, or at least he told me he had not, but he knew people that had been, basically racist towards them in one fashion or another, and just very sad that people would do that. Like any sort of violence towards people of Asian descent or threats or racist language or racist looks or like my brother saw a man of East Asian descent. Doesn't know him, not sure. I don't. He didn't say one way or the other where he thought he was from, but and of course he was on the subway in Greater New York, and they were just. He had a very wide berth for foolish reasons. People were avoiding him on the subway train, but it's been very strange times. So, Um, Hopefully soon we'll be able to be a little less isolated, but I definitely worry about the fall. We are um, we've gone through a lot economically, I guess you could say, as a country, and obviously the stimulus check was nice for us as we did not suffer any monetary losses. We put that towards savings and other large purchases like the washing machine and car parts and other health related expenses. But I worry about the fall. Like it it was bad here and we shut things down and then we opened them maybe too soon. Maybe we got sick of waiting. And I feel like there's just this kind of expectation that it's not going to ramp up. It's not going to be bad in the fall. And I'm kind of worried that there might be a scenario in which it is a good idea to shut things down as we did in the spring, and we won't want to, and we'll just be okay with a depressing amount of people getting sick and dying. I really worry about that. Really worry about